Hello and welcome to A Celtic World, the YouTube channel and podcast that delights in the fact that there are Celtic fans all over this great big planet. From Postle Park to Partick, London Road to Loch Lomond. Wherever you happen to be watching from, you're part of A Celtic World. And indeed, who do we have here? We have Paul, as always, almost always, all the way from Perth, Australia. G'day, Paul.
G'day, mate. Nice to be back on.
It's a very convincing accent.
It isn't.
And Sawadee Kap, David, Kun David.
Hello, folks. That's my best Thai accent for you. Looking forward to the show. Sawadee Kap.
I was hoping for a bit more Thai from you there. All right, so that's who we have on the show tonight. Hello to everyone in the chat. Lots of faces in the chat. Pete McGee asking who is Desmond Bristles. Well, we'll be coming to that. Pork chop. Why are we waiting? Oh, let's see what he's done there. Very clever play on words. We'll also be diving into that jeu de mots in just a moment. So hello everyone, how you all doing? What are we going to be talking about today? Well, I haven't created a little menu for you, but basically the goings on at Celtic. Catch up with the latest chat about where we are in terms of fan action and possible responses. What do we make of those? We will, of course, have a little moment to consider Loch Lomond, as was teased in the intro there, because a few things to say about that. And a little bit about their fans. Don't want to preempt what it all is. And then, of course, we're previewing Partick Thistle in the Cup. And a little bit of Celtic socials after that. Alrighty then. Does that sound good to you, gentlemen? Where would you like to start? Let's start with this. This is an article that has come out in the Daily Ranger. Dermot Desmond ally tells Celtic fans to back off and be careful what they wish for after 15 years of being spoilt. Are you both aware of this story?
Willie hockey in it. I did see this briefly earlier. I obviously don't read that rag or the Sun, which I think carried it as well. But I was across it from some of the other Celtic fan media that have picked up on it. It's just disappointing. It's the kind of nonsense that comes out. Like, I don't know. That's about the most generous spin you could put in it, that we've been spoiled. The alternative, much more realistic position is that we should be miles ahead of the opposition. We should be pushing on in Europe. And we should be trying to replicate clubs like Bruges, Benfica, Ajax, and others. And instead, those clubs are disappearing over the horizon, and we are dragging ourselves back to the rest in Scotland. So, no, Willie Hockey was a good serving. I think he was a pretty decent serving director for Celtic for a long time. No doubt he is a Celtic fan, but he's clearly a Desmond acolyte. Also a Lord, fair play to him. And until very recently, I think heavily involved with Queen's Park until he eventually decided to pull the pin on the ongoing finances, and so they've sort of dropped back to be a bit of a mess since then. So yeah, he's entitled to his opinion, but I think he's like many a Lord, I would guess, miles out of touch with the average Celtic fan, and who even cares what appears in the Daily Record and the Sun on a daily or weekly basis? Waste of time.
15-year being spoilt, lol. Mind you, how many qualifications we've been humiliated out of? Asks Chris. Yeah, this article is here's just sort of the centerpiece of it, apart from the spoilt bit. It looks like pieces breaking out. I saw Brendan's last press comments were good, and it looks as if there's a bit of healing. He told PLZ Soccer. Yeah, hopefully that's the case. Everybody's disappointed to go out of the Champions League and in a couple of performances, but overall, if you think about the 30 years before that and all the hard times, we've actually been spoilt the last 15 years or so. I would just say that Dermot and his involvement with the club has put us where we are. Let's back off a wee bit and keep supporting the team. Well, I mean, David, no one's saying don't support the team. And this is something you hear quite a lot. A lot of voices saying, look, we've never had it so good. But that's not your point of view, I'm sure.
Yeah, not at all. No, I think this idea that we've been spoilt for the last 15 years, we're there on merit. Not because Rangers have been in their second incarnation, etc. We've been there. We've built up a good, strong team, and we had the opportunity to build from a position of strength. So I think the idea of Lord Haughey or Hee-Haw or whatever, just sticking up for for Dermot, I think is just nonsense. I don't know if there's a link between that and the sort of the chairman position possibly becoming vacant. I saw something on social media that he left Queen's Park because somebody sort of took the piss out of him in a pub quiz night or something. Don't know much of the details about that one. If anyone in the chat has more details, but no, I mean, I think that it's so frustrating just now that we're top of the league, we're in the quarter final of the cup against the mighty Jags. We should be delighted, but given the nonsense with the Champions League, 100 million or however many millions we've got in the bank, we've got absolutely every right to be critical of the board, including Desmond and and whoever else wants to kind of stand up for them.
Yeah, these big figures that are going to be published are going to be like a slap in the face, insult to injury, after not qualifying for the Champions League. As Stephen Ray points out here, not the famous Stephen Ray, but well, maybe he is famous in his own right, but not the actor. The upcoming financial results won't show Celtic as a great business. It'll show a club operating with the handbrake on the manager and the football team. Now, sort of implicit in that article was, Dermot Desmond, he's your sort of benefactor. You shouldn't get upset about how he's been controlling the club over these past few years. And there's sort of is a narrative you sometimes see on the other side of the city, Paul, that billionaire Desmond bankrolls Celtic. That's not true.
Well, I took issue with that. That's the one comment in that the part of the article you put up that really I take issue with, because as it was talked about before, he's 35% shareholder. Yes, he's got a voting block that I think takes him to the best part of 51. So yeah, he has ultimately majority control through his voting blocks. But Celtic's a PLC. It's a business. It fucking runs like a bank. Excuse my language. It runs like a bank, and the profits that the club produces from performance on the pitch, a ton of money put in by fans, in ticket sales, and in more recent years, merch, particularly since Adidas came in. You see me with every merch under the sun. Not for a while. I'm actually pretty pissed off about that, because the current release, tone deaf, but it's probably the best release the club's put out in ages in terms of the training tops, the Adidas original stuff. I hope nobody buys it, because we need to send a message. The good thing about these results coming out is, in the last few years, and I think it was Hamish that pointed this out on his show a couple of days ago. They've in recent years,
advertising your other show.
No, not at all. He put a bit of detail on that. In recent years, the club have put out about an 80-page dossier on the financials with commentary and graphs and all the other stuff. And what you'll be able to see from that is how much fans have spent on merchandise in the last 12 months. And I imagine it'll be hefty. I imagine it'll be up there with some of the most of any club in the country. And by country, I mean the whole of the United Kingdom, Isles, and probably basically a good chunk of Europe. So Celtic fans put in a heap. If we perform on the pitch, that brings in more. And if we get the strategy right on players, that brings even more in. Which, again, for a club that loves money, that's why the decision not to fund the team and the manager ahead of the Champions League, to bankroll even more cash, just makes absolutely zero sense. So I take major issue with the fact that we're supposed to sort of bend over and get our bellies tickled back because Desmond happens to be a billionaire. He's, we're a plaything for him. We're a mild distraction between the golf course and whatever else he's up to in his spare time. So no, there's plenty of cash being made from the club. I think he could walk away, sell his shares, be even richer. And as long as we got the right thinking people in to replace him, the business and the club would move forward. In fact, we could go much better and much further forward with people with a little bit of ambition and much more business nous in charge.
Well, this is an interesting post. This is by Grand Old Team. I don't know if you know this Twitter handle. Interesting Dermot Desmond investment in Celtic fact. Among the 31 million Desmond invested between 94 and 2005, was 3 million to purchase that number of preferred shares. Those shares pay Desmond 184 grand to be exact. Since 1994, that 3 million investment has paid almost 6 in dividends. So he's doing quite nicely. He's not exactly pumping money into the team. It's been a nice little earner for him. David, those are the kind of money. That's the kind of money that you probably are scooping in Bangkok that allows you to live in your penthouse there in the sky.
Yeah, chump change. Yeah. But that's fine. No, but I think as Paul said, I mean, if we're run more like a bank rather than a football club. If you look at, is it 7 out of the last 9 Champions League, we've not got through the qualifying stage. So if you're looking at 30 to 35 million upwards that we've lost out on every year, it's just a ridiculous state of affairs. I mean, again, I keep going back to, you look at Bayern Munich, compare Bayern Munich to Kairat, and where we could have been, where we should have been, for the sake of probably like Tunekti and maybe one other person, we would have enough to easily get through against that mob.
Yeah, no, we haven't really heard that much talk of Desmond has to go and we need new owners. That's not really the focus of the fan action, is it? We want better communication. We want people in who can do the job of recruitment. Maybe we want some of the board to be changed to people who have a bit more of a progressive point of view, Paul.
Well, yeah, hang on.
Is the conversation going to shift, do you think, to, like I keep saying, an appeal to Desmond and an open letter to Desmond saying, look, this is what you need to do if you want your legacy to be a positive one?
Yeah, I don't know if it's an appeal to him. At the end of the day, there's no point. If we change the board and restructure the club slightly and everything still has to go through Desmond, to use a pretty ancient cliche, you're just sort of shuffling the bloody chairs on the Titanic. Do you know what I mean? It's nothing's good. If you make those changes and he still wants every signing to go past him, you've made no change whatsoever. Like, it's a complete waste of time. I think the board is complacent, but ultimately, if Nicholson has to go to Dermot Desmond to get any major signing signed off, which is what seems to be the case, what's the point? Like, there's absolutely 0 point changing Nicholson for another puppet that has to go to Dermot Desmond. So either Desmond needs to change his modus operandi or he needs to go. I think otherwise, you're shuffling the deck chairs.
Shuffling the deck chairs in the Titanic, as a lot of people end up in the freezing cold water, which brings us on to our next subject, which is Rangers going swimming in Loch Lomond. I don't know how much swimming's happening there. There's quite a lot of them seem to be standing up and not dipping their balls in, so to speak, not scrunching down.
Surprise.
Now, a lot of people sort of laughing about this whole thing. Is this hilarious or is this a reasonable idea, David? Team building. Martin needs to do something. So have you got a problem with it? Do you think it's funny or reasonable enough?
I think, I don't know if I've ever been on a team building course in my career that I've remotely enjoyed. You go on all these HR courses and all these ridiculous, theories and ideas to get people together, sort of building jigsaws or all whatever the latest shit that they learn about. So I must admit, at least living in Bangkok, if we had to go for a swim in the lake, it would be the water would be warm. But the idea that let's do team building and go swimming in the freezing, Loch Lomond is just madness. I think somebody was on Top Sport, the Spurs guy.
I hated hearing him.
Yeah, just ripping
O'Hara.
O'Hara, yeah.
Who wants to go to Loch Lomond? It's bloody freezing, isn't it? And all this. Like, what does he know? The Bonnie Banks make it proud to be Scottish, Paul.
It's shite being Scottish. Sorry. Unrehearsed again. Unrehearsed with the link to the water as well. So, yeah, well done on that, Gav. Look, they need a little bit more than a team building event in Loch Lomond. I think if I want to be not hypercritical, and it's hard to not do that, I don't doubt that squad needs some team building and some togetherness. But to take them out to Loch Lomond in a very public setting, and it just sets them up for ridicule again. Like, I'm sure their fans would much prefer the team building was happening behind closed doors, in the training ground, on the pitch, work hard, play hard, be working on their tactics and all that, the combinations, because that's what they need that's what any team needs to up their performance. It's what Celtic need. We got the job done by the skin of our teeth the other night, as sort of you said. But it was clear we were pretty, rusty with or not together on the combinations, which is understandable with both fullback and wingers on each side have sort of never played together. So yeah, I think you'd be much better doing it in terms of training ground. I think when you're already really sort of up against it, anything that can get you further ridicule is probably not the best idea. Like he's in the firing line already. Do you know what I mean? They hate the vegan. They hate the fact he's a Greens voter. They hate the fact he hasn't got brown brogues or wears a suit and tie. Like now he's got his. Now, of course they are, but they're morons, right? They're so like daft. That's the things they care about. So giving them yet more ammunition, like he's off messing around the loch, is I just think you're setting yourself up for more grief if from your own fan base. The rest of us could just laugh and scoff and add it to the banter years, but for the fans, that they're just going to be even more worked up than they already are, if that was even possible. For me, Loch Lomond, the thing, the exciting thing for me about Loch Lomond is nothing to do with those idiots, but it's just gone past the 29th, is it 29th anniversary of the Oasis shows at Loch Lomond, which was basically Scotland's version of Nebworth, and that was the first time I saw Oasis, which was interestingly at Ballacountry Park, which is on the banks of Loch Lomond, and weirdly my grandparents had a house just around the corner from Ballacountry Park, so I actually spent some holidays as a small child running around Ballacountry Park, and then as I turned 18, or just after I turned 18, I was driving down with a few mates to see Oasis for the first time in the very same park. So that's my little personal connection to Loch Lomond. In this case, it's just another funny story.
Okay, well, I'll tell you mine. This is the picture of them in the car park near Connick Hill. No, I don't know much about Scotland, but I was there last year, went to the Hearts game towards the end of the season with Kaiser, and we took a day or two to not be in Glasgow. And where did we go? We went to this very spot, would you believe it? And it's Balmaha. This is us on Google Maps. That's the same building was behind them. There's Connick Hill. And let's take a wee tour around here. If you go down here, you'll find the Oak Tree House. Is that what that's called? That's where we stayed, this very building in Loch Lomond. And you see these benches here, Paul. Do you remember I showed you a video of my son, and I wanted him to do a little cultural thing when he was in Scotland. That's where he ate haggis for the first time, my little half Malaysian son. And I also had him trying a local beverage to see what he would make of it. So I was like, tell everyone what the name of the drink is on the video. And he says, it's called Ernbrew, was his effort at pronouncing it. So that's exactly what that happened.
Which presumably you were fuming with, based on...
No, I thought it was funny.
All right, so you
Very
weren't
funny.
correct. You weren't immediately correcting his pronunciation like the rest of us.
No. Well, I mean, I just laughed at it. But look, this will be where they went out into the water. So that was hilarious. That of all the very few places I know in Scotland, it was all featured in the news. David, do you have a Loch Lomond story, personal story you want to share with us while we're on the subject?
No, I'm all Loch Lomonded out. But no, I thought it was quite funny that, if you do a team building and it's 20 miles or something from Ibrox, if you do a team building, go to Dubai or go somewhere nice. Something that the team will be looking forward to going to. You imagine them thinking, we'll get our passports ready, wonder where we're off to. And it's like, what? So the idea of just like 20 miles up the road, it's just fail.
Well, hang on, they've got a game this weekend. They couldn't exactly shoot off to the Middle East, could they? Plus,
they could have gone somewhere.
it would seem like a bit of a reward for us. So they'd get even more grief if they went to somewhere nice. Yeah. It's like a punishment going into the freezing cold water in Loch Lomond.
Yeah.
But the fact, I think we spent enough time on these idiots.
We have. Well, there's only one other thing I'd like to mention, and that is I saw lots of sort of comedic headlines talking about what the Rangers are doing in the Trossachs National Park and stuff, because they actually have rangers there, which got me thinking about, why is there some connection between Rangers and Bears? Why do they call themselves the Union Bears? Should they not be lions or something? The lion rampant. But they call themselves Bears, and I've no idea why. I wonder, do either of you know why they call themselves Bears?
Back in the day, they used to call themselves the Jers, the Teddy Bears. It's rhyming slang.
Is the right answer. In a Glaswegian accent, apparently, Teddy Bears rhymes with Rangers. The Bears, the Jers. I suppose that's it. But I got me thinking, was there some sort of connection on this front? Can you name those characters?
It's Yogi Bear. It's the Ranger. I can't remember his name. And that's Boo Boo. I don't remember his missus. But yeah.
Ranger Smith, apparently.
Ranger Smith. Well, it's on the thing, and I didn't read it. Daft.
Oh yeah, it is. Anyway, yes, as you say, that's quite enough on them. Let's move the conversation on. How long have we been on for talking nonsense? 23 minutes?
24 minutes of nonsense so far. We've barely discussed Celtic.
Of course, we are the Lions, the Lisbon Lions. What is that lion rampant? I mean, that's a sign of Scotland, isn't it? The lion up on its hind legs.
I think it comes from French, but
is it?
Rampant, I think, but.
Rampant, le lion rampant.
I think so. I think we need Christophe here to explain what it means. Otherwise, I'm just talking shit again.
What's a lion got to do with European countries anyway? It's ridiculous. And I'll tell you another thing. In the Celtic symphony, it includes the great lie about the lion being in the jungle deep. That's where the lion sleeps. You'll never find a lion in a jungle. I've been in loads of jungles, and there ain't no lions.
Tigers
in the savannah.
Elephants in the jungle. Leopards in the jungle. Gorillas in the jungle. No lions in the jungle.
Yeah, you won't find a lion sleeping in any jungle.
The lion rampant, if you want the extra information, is the royal banner of Scotland. So that the lion is in relation to the royalty piece. So I don't know, lions tend to go with, it's a depiction of, I guess, wealth and royalty and all of that. So Will's right. The unicorn is the national symbol of Scotland.
That's right. We learned that in Stirling Castle the day after we were in Balmaha, funnily enough, last year. All fits together. No, I didn't learn it in St. Max, Paddy. The University of Life. All right, let's move it on then. This is supposed to be the Partick Thistle preview show. So, Partick Thistle. Look at that, 1876. They were established, great old historic club. What can you educate me about Partick Thistle? Any factoids for us, David?
That's my son's favourite football team.
Uh-huh.
When he moved back to Glasgow 20 odd years ago, his uncle took him under his wing, and became a Partick Thistle fan. At that time, Partick Thistle it was a fantastic family club. I think anyone under the age of about 15 get in for nothing. You could get like an under 18 or something season ticket for about 30 quid. Yeah, so it's nice to. I think, as I used to tell him, my son, that Partick Thistle is their shorter name. It's usually Partick Thistle nil. There's loads of shite jokes to annoy your son about, which was always good.
Very good. Is this a shite joke in an effort to annoy us from William Cuthbert? Obviously died in the Wool Celtic fan with a name like that. Yeah, okay, so Partick Thistle.
I'm not dissimilar, he's bigger than me.
Firhill for thrills, eh?
What do you know of their management team?
Well,
let's talk through that. First
bag,
two only, really. Well, obviously the manager is Mark Wilson. What are your memories of him as a player, Paul?
He was a decent sign. I think he came from Dundee United from memory. He did all right during that period. I think he scored. Did he score one against Rangers at Celtic Park? He lashed one in a kind of
the one that bounced.
Yeah, he sort of bounced, lashed.
Two bites at the cherry.
Yeah. And that was probably his high point. But I thought he was a decent player for us. Obviously, since gone on to spend some time in the media, which a lot of the if you're an ex-Celtic player that end up in the media, in a lot of cases, you end up pandering a little bit to the typical. There you go. Yeah. They tend to pander. Yeah, they tend to pander a little bit to the Hun side of the media. So, but I don't think he's got. I don't think he's leaned too far that way. I find it very strange that he would hire Alex Ray for his management team. So that definitely seems to go against him in terms of general sanity, if anything else. But yeah, he was a decent. To use a very old-fashioned, well-worn cliche, he was an excellent servant for the club.
Mm-hmm. How's the Guinness? Asks Paddy. Well, it's from a can, Draft Guinness in cans, which has recently made its way to faraway Borneo, where there's jungles with no lions in them. Cara, good to see Cara back in the chat. Haven't seen her for a while. Yeah, Alex Ray. What was he doing before he got the Rangers job, David? Know what he was doing to make a living?
Yeah,
I know this. I think I know this one. Was he not driving a hearse? Is that?
Yeah,
is that what
he was working for an undertaker.
Yeah. Good practice, given his previous club died. So
he's got the face for it.
Well, he looks closer to the clients rather than the families. But dear.
This is what Christie says he was doing. We're doing this.
Yep.
Yeah, he's not a very popular man, is he? Got a clip of him. I should have lined up of him talking about being in Celtic Park and thinking he was going to get a hiding, and he had to front up. But it's got a quite harsh C word in it, so I wouldn't want to upset Cara. She's of a very sensitive disposition. So won't be playing that. All right. So Partick Thistle. Who's their star man? Does anybody know? I had to look this up. See who's worth the most money on their team. Do you think? Can you name any of their players?
I said Tony Watts, their main striker.
Yes, that's right. That's right. He is.
I've got 2 or 3 Celtic youngsters in their squad, I think. A reserve goalkeeper and another one, not sure what position, but struggling to name
Yeah.
it. And would have to
Yeah,
look.
they've got Josh Clark on loan from us. I think he's the main, and Ben McPherson as well.
There's a young fella called Alan Hansen, according to Will, and Rod
Yeah,
McDonald, according to Mo. Yeah, Tony Watt, my God, he's had a varied career in terms of clubs, hasn't he? But he likes a bit of giant killing, so maybe he'll be up for this today. Well, the player that caught my eye was this fella here. He's on loan, Ocean Smith. He's on loan from St Mirren, attacking midfielder from the north of Ireland. They say he's worth 400k, which is, according to Transfermarkt, makes him their most valuable asset. Well, even though he's only on loan to them, but the most highly rated player. Do you know the name Ocean? Does that mean anything to anyone? Is there a Scottish version of that?
Well, Ocean Murphy, for those of you that like to invest wisely in horse racing, Ocean Murphy is one of the top riders in the UK just now. So basically, anytime you're passing a bookies, pop in. If he's riding one of the horses, shove a tenner on him. You heard it here first.
Where's he from? Says Pete McGee. Derry Trasna. That's in County Armagh, I believe. Yeah, Ocean is, for those of you who are interested in this sort of thing, Irish mythology. He's the warrior poet and the son of Finn McCool, who is famously the giant of the Giant's Causeway. And Ocean was lured into Tiernanog. I did all this, found this all out very recently, as you can tell the way I'm delivering it. Lured into Tiernanog, the land of eternal youth, by Maeve, and was told that if he ever went back, he goes to Tiernanog where time moves differently. He spends 3 years there where the sun is always shining and it's nobody ever ages. And then by the time he goes back to Ireland, centuries have passed. He doesn't recognise the place. And what's interesting about it to me, the name Ocean, is there's this place in County Antrim, in between Cushendall and Cushendun, and it's literally about 2 fields away from the farmhouse that my dad's family all grew up in. And it's a series of standing stones which are said to be Ocean's grave. And hardly anyone goes there, but you'll find loads of videos about it online of people who are interested in this kind of thing, doing a pilgrimage there, and they can't believe it's not a big deal because it's the grave of one of these great figures from Irish mythology. Jerry, you're not finding this interesting? Huh?
You don't get this on your run-of-the-mill average Celtic YouTube channel, do you? This is we're that's why we're a fringe.
Look.
This is why we're a fringe channel. This kind of down
No,
the
we
rabbit
like-
hole nonsense on a random Thursday night. If I can interject again with another random personal story, I've actually been to Cushendun.
Have you?
Yeah.
Wow.
A friend of mine, when I was in Leeds for 8 years, and a friend of mine, was from there. She was working.
Oh, yeah.
She was working at the Bank of Ireland yet another cliche. And her and another mate who was also there, they were part of a kind of group of a drinking group in my late 20s, early 30s. And
She wasn't called Sinead, was she?
She wasn't. She was called Kira. Kira O'Neill, she was called. So I doubt she's going to see this, but yeah. So she's about my age, give or take. But I remember she got quite she was quite shocked because very early on I said, "Oh, you must be a Catholic then," and she went, "Oh, we don't speak about that at home." And I went, "Well, I'm just sort of taking a flyer at a name like Kira O'Neill that you're probably a Catholic." And she thought it was quite cheeky for bringing up which side of the religious divide she might be from, but I didn't think it was particularly hidden. But yeah, I think 7 or 8 of us, after a couple of years of being mates, went over to Cushendun for a long weekend. It was great crack.
And what did you get up to in Cushendun? Did you go to that place, the Game of
Nah.
Thrones cave
No,
thing?
No, well, the Game of Thrones wasn't on then. The show was maybe the books had been written, but no, we did a day trip. We did a day trip drive, and we did the bridge, the rope bridge, and
Carrick-a-Reid, yeah.
Yep, there you go, that one, and
Giants
aforementioned Giants Causeway. And other than that, it absolutely pissed it down for most of the weekend. So we mostly stayed in the pub and got drunk. But yeah, it was we had good crack, and I think we had 2 hire cars between the group, and the other, I was driving one, and the other, there's only 2 blokes I think on the trip, the rest were women, and I was driving one car and my mate was driving the other, and he pranged it on the second last day, which amused me greatly. So yeah, that was what we were up to in Cushendun. Apparently we're just kind of talking amongst ourselves now. So yeah,
we are talking amongst ourselves. That's fine. All right, let's preview the Partick Thistle game instead. But this is kind of a social event for us. I don't know about your lives, but Monday and Thursday night we get to have a yarn with some like-minded chaps. All right, so David, is Brendan going to break with tradition and play a totally changed lineup, or is he going to play the same old, same old?
Yeah, I think he'll keep the same team.
Do you?
Yep. I think that we want to sort of take the game seriously. We've not played for a while. No midweek games this week, so there's no reason for them not to be. I think they should all have been sort of training together this week. I'd like to see Partick Thistle have a good run at it. I think these first 2 games were quite a challenge for him. I think the pitch the other week, it wasn't easy for him for his first couple of games. So I think Partick Thistle would be starting. I think Dunekti has to start on the other side. Probably Engels deserves a place in the midfield. But I wouldn't expect to see many changes, to be honest.
Yeah, we always kind of call for tons of changes. Let's see him and let's see him. And, Brendan's a bit of a creature of habit. I don't think he's going to tinker that much. Paul, how many new faces are you expecting to see?
I'd like to see 3 or 4, maybe even 5. One of the most cohesive performances, and I get it was only against Falkirk, but one of the most cohesive performances of the season was that game in the last round. And we played a fairly changed lineup for that game. I think Dane Murray started. I think Engels and McCowan started. I can't remember what other changes might have been around, but I think Sinisalo deserves a crack, and he should be like the cup keeper. So I'm up for that. This team, actually, I'm not far off, to be honest. I'd be happy. I'd be happy with that as a lineup. I'd like to see guys like Shinya Yamada on the bench. Bernardo and Engels definitely need game time. There's an opportunity to rest the likes of Hatate and McGregor, who have barely strung a performance together so far this year. But yeah, I don't see why you wouldn't change it. Like, I don't think saying we want to take the game seriously and David, don't want to take the game seriously and changing 4 or 5 players, it doesn't do that. Like, we've got massive strength and depth. Thistle are on a good run. We haven't really, we've talked about some of the background to Thistle. Thistle have had a really good start to the season. They've beaten Ayr United in the Cup. They've beaten Ross County. The only team that's beaten them is St Johnstone, who've obviously come down. They thumped them at the very start of the season. Everyone else, Thistle have either seen away or they, I think, had one draw with Greenock on maybe the second game of the season. They topped their League Cup group, which included, I think, Ross County. So yeah, they're not going to be mugs, but at the end of the day, they're the season. They're the league below us. We've got massive strength and depth. comparatively, we can argue we've not got as strong a squad as we should have based on not seeing as the signings, but we've certainly got more than enough to rotate through the squad a bit, give players some game time, rest some others. I know it sounds daft saying you rest players, but somebody like McGregor has played like 55, 60 games a season for nearly a decade. We need to start getting, and I think myself and Anthony said this the other night, but we need to start making it that McGregor can be rotated, that he doesn't have to play 90 minutes every single game. It's just not normal. It's not normal that a central midfielder plays every single minute of every single game. And we need to start building the fact that, he can be rotated. He can be left on the bench. He can be removed after 60, 70 minutes regularly. So yeah, I think I'd like to see at least 4, maybe 5 changes.
Oh no, I would like to see changes as well.
And change the bench as well.
Yeah. I'd like to see changes, but I just I don't think he's going to make that many. I think in terms of strength and depth, in midfield we're fine, and in defence we're fine. The new left back, I think he would start. I think Donovan has to start again on the right side. I don't know if we'll ever see Pusey again. One of the least obvious signings we've ever had in the last 20 years.
You hear what they're saying about him?
What about the fact he didn't want to play for the reserves?
Yeah, that's what the word is.
Yeah,
that's been kicking around for weeks, though. For weeks. So, I didn't see anything wrong with that as a signing. He was very highly regarded by City, which is why they don't want to release him. I find the whole thing very bizarre. Like there must have been dialogue between City and Celtic to say, well, we're not selling this guy. We think he's got a future at the club. We want him to go somewhere and get game time. Presumably there were other people that would have taken him on loan. And we were deemed to be the best option for him. And something's gone badly wrong between the player, the comms, the manager. And yeah, I agree with Monty. I don't think we'll see him play. He's made 2 squads, which were the Kairat Almaty squads, where you're allowed more players in. It just seems like an extreme. Like in terms of the quality of the player, I was quite excited. I think we need strength and depth in the centre back positions. I thought he was going to be challenging Scales and Trusty, both of whom need a rocket and need challenging. Neither of them have shown enough to be the first choice, but yet that's the current options. And yeah, it's just a very odd one. Yeah, maybe I have. I actually thought we were.
It's Monty. Come on, it's Monty. He's put a laughing face.
I don't. I thought we were. I thought we wanted to get. Monty also said we were just chatting amongst ourselves, so I thought he wanted us to get back on a serious discussion about the team.
No, he's quite happy to go on tangents as long as they're sexual in nature.
Right. Well, apologies, but yeah, I think it could have and should have been a good signing. It's clearly gone very pear-shaped, and I imagine at this point he will be on his way back to City relatively soon. Or if he stays till January, we won't see him much unless there's an absolute injury crisis.
Any other chat on the team then, David? Any other thoughts about who else you would start specifically?
I'd start Shin.
Yeah.
Again, I think these are opportunities up front. I think we need to. I do think we need to play Balikwisha and Chinekti. They give them more game time. But I think for me, I'd have Shin ahead of Maeda initially.
Well, I think I'd have Iheanacho first, to be honest. Like he's played 15, 20 minutes the other night. He scored his goal. Give him 50, 60 minutes, and then bring Shin. Maeda can be cover on the wing. He doesn't need to play, right? He can come on as a winger, or he can be left out of the squad entirely. Yamada can come on for Iheanacho. And
Iheanacho.
yeah, Iheanacho. So yeah, I don't think there's any need for Maeda to be any more than on the bench, if even that. I don't think you can. Well, as much as you might want to see Yamada straight start, I don't think it's. He's not even been making squads lately, so I just like to see him in the squad, get some minutes. But I think Iheanacho is, he's probably got to get more minutes under his belt, given he's not played a ton of football, and give an opportunity to get up and running, so that when we do get to the Europa, which none of us are particularly excited about, we've at least got a couple more games under his belt.
Yeah, Balikwisha is a funny one because he's just started and he's being played out of position, and he sees Tunekti in his position, tearing it up in the first game. He's getting so much praise, far too much praise probably for one game, but people are excited because they see he's got intent and he's unpredictable. Sometimes he runs at defenders and goes down the line. Other times he cuts in. We don't know what he's going to do. That's fun. Balikwisha, I don't think, has got that so much in his locker, but he's also playing on the wrong side. So it's a bit difficult for him, I think, to impress to the same degree. But there's some hope, I would say, that he sees the praise Tunekti's getting and sees that that's what we're crying out for, and maybe tries to bring it into his game a bit, David.
Yeah, for sure. I think, as I say, he's had quite a difficult start. I wouldn't envy anyone having to, play that, midden, at Kilmarnock. I think Rodgers chased after him for the best part of a year. So, I think there's a player there. I just don't know that he's necessarily that's his best position. I hope it's not his best position because he hasn't necessarily started the season on fire. But hopefully he'll come on to you again. I think also when he came on, the team was lacking in confidence from midfield onwards. So again, hopefully he's had like a week of good training. And then, if whoever's, on the left back, they can maybe sort of start to forge a bit of a partnership.
AR saying he hopes he's just being like Kuhn and is just a slow starter, and it'll take a while before we see the best of him, Paul.
I think everybody's a bit hyped and a bit on edge because of how crap the window's been. To the same degree that Tunekti has been probably overhyped on one performance, I feel like Balikwisha's gone the other way on a couple of performances. Like, I don't really think you can judge a winger until 10, 15, 20 games down the track. Like they're in and out of games. Depends who they're playing with. They've got to get that understanding with the fullback and the players inside them. Are they going to come in more often or go outside more often? The thing I liked about Tunekti is he had intent. As soon as he got the ball, he wanted to attack his fullback, isolate his fullback, and he was willing to go inside and out. Now, one of the things that I've sort of read and heard about him is he definitely got that in his locker, but he hasn't necessarily always had an end product. And if you strip away all the hype and the excitement of a player who actually wanted the ball and wanted to go and run at players, he didn't really produce anything from a final ball point of view. He caused some mayhem. He got into good areas. He did have some nice link-up play, but he didn't quite connect to the full. Now, I'm not having a go at him for that because it was terrible surface, terrible weather, and it's his first game. But I would just caution, the hype on one direction and the awfulness on the other direction. Some people most people in this will know Manish, who contributes through the chat on regular on these shows and certainly on the sort of tactical review show that myself and Anthony do. And he was on the other night and saying that from sort of background stats, and he's a stats guy, Balikwisha has probably got the highest ceiling of the players that we've purchased. So you can't, I know all of us will work on the eye test as well as stats, but I think there's definitely something there for him. I think he's played out of position. I don't even think he's an out and out winger. Like, he's played right across the sort of front areas. He's played 10 quite a lot. And one of the things he's good at is sort of getting in behind the last man and one-on-one with the keeper. Now he's not going to get an opportunity to do that in the far wide positions that he's played so far. But yeah, this is exactly what I'm trying to get at. Like this is where we're at. And I was chatting to my brother about this. Like I think I mentioned it before. He's a professional football coach, and he was saying it just gets on his nerves entirely about how little time players or managers gets in the modern game. And it's not just about Celtic. This is right across the game, right? You know, a manager has 4 bad games, you want rid of him. A player, you know, has 2 games where he's quite quiet when he's just come to a new country and a new club, and suddenly he's completely pish. So I think it's just the environment that the football world is in at the minute. That we've got more stats available, we've got more coverage available, we've got more clips available than we've ever had before, and people rush to judgment. And I think in a lot of cases that, you know, that leans towards the negative rather than the positive.
Like this.
Yeah.
Joseph Agnews reckons another Argentina player is a flop. He's talking about Sriracha there. I thought he looked very tidy.
I thought he was decent. He's obviously settling in. He produced a world-class cross to break the deadlock.
He did, for the goal.
And
almost Greg Taylor-esque. It's world classness.
I think the thing is, if you we said this in the tactical review show on Monday. We'll be back this coming Monday if anyone wants to join us to review the Partick Thistle match. Call it crazy. Put in great deliveries into the box, people will score goals. And I think, you know, that his delivery was excellent. If we talk about players that sort of were judged super quickly, as soon as their form turned a little bit negative, a player like Adamida exactly falls into that category. And you see that Swansea fans are already on his back. I saw there was a tweet getting recycled. 6 million for a striker that can't hold the ball up. Like, I get that attitude, but that's not his strength. For me, you don't buy Adamida to come and drop deep and try and link the play. You buy Adamida to get him in the box between the posts and get service into him. You do that, like you showed when he went on international duty straight after he left us, he'll score goals. I think a lot of times fans are impatient. Managers don't know how to use players to the best of their skill set. And a lot of managers are in this position. And Brendan Rodgers like this, Russell Martin's like this, Ange was like this before him. They want to play their way and they kind of force players to fit into that strategy. And rather than be a little bit more flexible and going, well, I haven't necessarily got the players to play how I really want to play. Maybe I need to be a bit more creative with the squad I've got and play slightly differently. And I think that's one of my major frustrations as a fan and somebody who, likes watching football, is that you've just got these very rigid managers who don't want to show much in the way of creativity and change of thought. Sorry, a bit of a tangent.
No, you're definitely right.
That seems to be the theme of the show, so apologies.
Well, let's wrap up the Partick Thistle chat then with score predictions and a little note to what happens to the other side of the city, because they've got a very tough game against Hibs. We should navigate Partick Thistle. I'm sure your score predictions will reflect that. What are they, David?
4-1 Celtic.
You think we're going to score 4 goals? Have we got it in us to score 4 goals?
Well, as I say, I think this should be the game where we should be looking for that. It is an opportunity against a second level team. Albeit they're playing quite well just now, but I think 4-1. So I don't have to do my Partick Thistle nil joke for my son again.
Well,
3 or 4-0 Celtic. I don't think we're going to concede, and we stuck 4 past Falkirk. Partick, this will be a reasonably similar level to them. That's if we change it up a bit, have some freshness in the front starting lineup and off the bench, could see us winning it reasonably convincingly.
Well, I think they are going to score. They're going to score 1 after Ocean Smith dominates the midfield and makes Cal Mack look like an old fella for a period. So Ocean, son of Finn McCool, you'll all be thinking that whenever he's being celebrated and his name comes up. But we'll still win handily enough. 3-1 or something, I would say. Typhon McFlustery going for 2-1. Will reckons 2-0. So everyone's pretty confident of a victory. What do we want? What do we want to happen on the other across the other way? Do we want Hibs to give him a good scudding? Will Martin lose his job after that? Do we want that? Do we want Russell Martin to lose his job?
We certainly don't want Russell Martin to lose his job. Not yet, anyway. I would love to see the Huns get absolutely scalped by Hibs, and then their board come out and say, "Oh no, we're absolutely sticking with the manager and with the project and all of that." There's nothing that would give me more joy than that, because you've got the best of both worlds. You've got them scudded. The fans will be revolting more so than usual, and they'll get even more angry when the managerial team say, yeah, they're gonna stick with them. At some point, fan pressure will, if it continues, at some point fan pressure will succeed in getting rid of him, whether the board believe in him or not. They will eventually succumb to the ludicrous amount of pressure that those angry bears will push on them. But yeah, we certainly want him in situ for as long as possible, for a laugh, if nothing else. Like, I think the challenge has already been and gone this season, but from them at least. But yeah, would be a right laugh if they get another scudding.
Okay, well, let's finish it up then, just with a little look around the internet, David. So you see some other stories that might be of some interest to Celtic fans. Here's one. Højbjerg and O'Reilly in Marseille's starting lineup versus Real Madrid. Don't know if you saw this. Champions League. Matt O'Reilly playing at the Bernabeu, which I enjoyed. But I had a quick look at the Marseille team. There's quite a few names in there that the casual viewer of football in the UK might pick up on. Aubameyang up front. Supported behind him Timothy Weah, Matt O'Reilly, Mason Greenwood, Højbjerg, as I mentioned, in midfield, and Pavard, scorer of that famous World Cup goal for France. Can you believe Marseille have so many players that you recognise? I don't know anything about football outside of Scotland these days, but I can pick up on them.
Yeah, they're a good team. I think a lot of their fans were not happy with Greenwood going there after his sort of checkered history off the field, I think.
Checkered history. That must be the most couched euphemism I've heard in a long time. Dear oh dear.
Yep. So, yeah, I think, and by all accounts, they were quite unlucky against Real Madrid.
2 penalties.
Well, I think the second penalty was very dodgy.
Yeah, I thought so too.
But I think Carragher was doing his nut. Saying it was one of the dodgiest penalties he's seen in a long time. But good luck to O'Reilly. I think probably Brighton maybe didn't suit him as much, but I think he'll do well for Marseille.
And Timo Weah scored, Paul. He scored the goal. What do you make of that? What are your memories of him?
I thought he was okay. I thought he was decent. He contributed. He was certainly better than his mate who came at the same time, whose name escapes me because he was so terrible. The guy who goes for tons of millions, played for Scotland, always ends up back in Germany.
Ollie Burke.
There's the guy. Thank you. Yeah, so Timo Weah was significantly better than that, even carrying the burden of his dad's ability on his shoulders. He always looked like he would be a player. It would be nice to retain him. Obviously, that didn't happen. Wasn't really what was kind of going on at the time. But he had a much better impact than Ollie Burke, which is not a huge surprise. He's sort of flattered to deceive for, I think, most of his career. I don't know how he's earned as much as he has in transfer fees, sign-on fees, and wages, to be honest. But there you go. The modern game for you right there.
Yeah, Field of Dreams. US men's national teams. Timothy Weah reacts to his first goal for his new club against Real Madrid. Yeah, good on him. That's pretty exciting. Pete McGee coming in with a very incisive comment here, telling us Matt O'Reilly is at Marseille now. So that adds to the conversation. The only other thing before we end is I saw on social media people were recommending this app for a bit of football nostalgia, and I think I might use it from now on if I want to show like the league table in Scotland. It's going to be something like this. Ta-da! This is an app called Telescore.
Excellent. Excellent.
Yeah. So that brings you back, doesn't it? It's perfect.
Yep, teletext and CFAX, depending on which channel you were on back in the day. But yeah.
Well, the other picture I've got to show you in this style is the top scorers in the SPFL. Do you have any idea who's the top scorer in the SPFL?
None.
Own goal.
None.
It's a brilliant app, says Jerry Smith. Telescore, if you're looking for it, stick it on your phone. I was going to use a reference to not trying to bamboozle you.
Bamboozle, I remember a bit of that. It was excellent.
I mean, that was what we used to do for fun. You had to go out of your way to find a game on CFAX or Teletext. It was Teletext, wasn't it? Bamboozle.
Yeah. Bamboozle, yeah.
Well, here is the top scorers. I better zoom in on that. Dulcek from Dundee United's at the top. Then Findlay, Shankland and Braga for Hearts, all on 3 goals. Couple of Motherwell players in there. Our top scorer is Negrin on 3. And then where else do you have to go to find another Celtic player? Right down to McCowan on 1. I mean, I know it's early doors and all, but there you go. Do you like that, David? Does that bring you back?
Well, I remember teletext watching, sitting watching the TV, waiting for it to flicker, because when it flickered, then there was something changing. Those were the days.
Those were the days, my friend. Well, look, before we wrap the show up, I better play a quick one of these.
Hello all the Celtic fans. Here in France we love the Celtic world. C'est fantastique. Subscribe. C'est un fait accompli.
That's going out to our nearly 100 live viewers. The numbers are dropping back a bit since the football has taken over from the fan ire. That's okay. We've had a good run and still good numbers. And it's not all about numbers. It's about the quality of the chat, isn't it? I mean, that's what we want to see is, things in the comments like this.
Go on, give us a song.
I was just running to go to a massive crumble by Rangers. Wah, 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 wah. There will be no song today, unfortunately. Like I told you, all my songs are not suitable to the zeitgeist right now because it's about players who aren't in form or.
Well, why are you not in the writer's room then? Like, that's surely what you need to be
Because
doing.
I have other things to do. The Celtic world isn't my entire life, believe it or not.
Disappointing.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, maybe once the season picks up a bit more and there's a bit more sort of joviality around the place, like, and then I can maybe do a song. But what do you rhyme with Tinecti or Balikwisha? That's not easy. Huh?
Balikwisha's primed for some banter, surely. Just mispronounce that slightly, and you've got.
Well, he does get called Balikshiwa on some channels, I've noticed. But yeah, that's a tough one to... I should do a song about Sack the Board, probably. That should be easy enough. All right, anyway, enough of this nonsense distracting us from the matters in hand. Thank you very much, Paul and David, as always.
Thank you, Gavin.
Yeah,
and thank you to all of you in the chat for your intellectual comments. I don't know what we do without them. Until next time, everyone, hail, hail, and we'll see you on Monday for the Monday show and indeed the Monday tactical review with Paul and Anthony, where between the two of us we will be covering absolutely every aspect of our cup victory against Partick Thistle. Until then, see you later.
Cheers.
Hail, hail.